Poor communication and training, delays with assistance and undignified treatment. Just some of the issues disabled people can face when travelling on planes.
Later today, Rights on Flights, a campaign group that advocates on behalf of disabled travellers, is due to meet the Transport Secretary, Louise Haigh, to discuss how services can be improved for all. Tom Simons has this report.
What's your arms, love?
This is Amy and her mum Jo. Despite giving advance warning they needed assistance to board the plane, they were left waiting at the gate.
We were very delayed by the time we actually did board, and it very much felt like everybody was annoyed with me.
And then 2 of our bags haven't turned up.
And said they felt like a burden and judged by other passengers when the flight was delayed.
Disabled travellers regularly feel they're victims of discrimination.
The campaign group Rights on Flights, led by Sophie Morgan, has evidence of wheelchairs being damaged and aviation industry staff lacking the skills to transfer them to and from seats. Now they want the government to pass laws to ensure flying for people with disabilities is better organised, fairer and safer.
This is about the government saying, right, we see the crisis that you're facing. We want to respond effectively. We want to treat you like you aren't second-class citizens. We don't want to roll our eyes the same as they are. We drafted the Assisted Air Travel Act, which we believe is world-class legislation and could make the UK a leader in accessible air travel.
A Department for Transport spokesperson said everyone has the right to travel and be treated with dignity, and it is vital that flying is an accessible, safe and enjoyable experience for all. The Transport Secretary looks forward to discussing these issues with Sophie Morgan and remains committed to working closely with industry and stakeholders to make progress in enhancing the accessibility of aviation. The campaigners say this has been a problem for decades, but there are solutions if the government's prepared to listen. Tom Simons, BBC News.
Well, the campaigner Josh Wintersgill, who's a member of Rights on Flights, joins us now from Somerset. Good morning, Josh. Now, we hear time and time again these unacceptable experiences of flying. What's your experience been?
Well, look, my experience is pretty much what you've seen with Amy, and it's no different to many of the other wheelchair users that travel every day around the world. These issues are occurring daily, and you know, the Right to Fly documentary that you've just briefly seen is really worth watching to really understand the horrors that wheelchair users face when traveling. It's hard for me to explain very quickly kind of what goes on. You really need to visually see it. So I would encourage listeners to go and watch the Right to Fly documentary on All 4.
Airports and airlines keep apologising when this happens and keep saying lessons will be learnt. That was the same in Amy's case. Why do you think it keeps going wrong?
We're going around in circles and we need stronger legislation. And that's why Rights on Flights introduced the Assisted Air Travel Act to Parliament last year. And we're absolutely delighted that the Secretary of Transport has agreed to meet up with us later today. We are absolutely adamant that we're going to see progress and commitment from the new government to make sure that we get this world-class piece of legislation in place so that it prevents the issues that we keep seeing day after day, that keeps coming onto the news. And to be quite frank, we're bored of it now. And you know, we aren't being treated equally with dignity. And in order to overcome that, we do need to get this AATA into legislation.
What will you consider a successful outcome from your meeting with the Transport Secretary? Obviously, things can't be fixed overnight in one go, but what are you aiming for?
So there's 3 things. One is the commitment to work with us to get the AATA in. To do that, we're going to need a form of task force, and Rights on Flights wants to be in a position where we're working with the Secretary of Transport to build that task force, to work with industry, and to do a consultation as soon as possible to make sure that this, you know, gets in as quickly as possible. And the other element to this as well is looking at the enforcement powers that the regulator has today. It's one of the quickest things that we can get changed to ensure that the regulator has enough powers to prevent these recurring problems from happening, because today it's very wishy-washy, and that's why we're going around in circles.
Yeah, and going around in circles makes it seem such a bleak situation. In your many years of using a powered chair, have you noticed any difference at all? Has there been any improvement?
I think it would be unfair to say that airlines haven't tried, but the underlying way in which the industry operates, it makes it very difficult for them to, just address the problem really easily. And there's solutions such as the Air for All solution, which is being developed with Delta Flight Products, which looks to make a wheelchair spot on planes possible. And that is coming through. And that is just one part of many solutions that is needed to ensure that we can create that seamless and dignified and equal travel experience for everyone.
Just very briefly, Josh, aside from legislation, is there something that other people can do, more education?
I think there's a responsibility on Rights on Flights to help educate other people about their rights, but also it is worth going onto the government website to look at your rights when it comes to flying. One of the things that I would like to just highlight under the AATA is we are looking at having a complaints resolution officer. And what that basically means is that when something goes wrong on the ground, that you have someone directly responsible that knows the legislation inside out, that is able to provide you the support that you need there and then to make sure that you can get on with your travel, upward travel.
That's one of many possible solutions. Josh, thank you for your time. Josh Wintersgill there. Thank you.